Buenos nachos, amigos, and welcome to Record Breakers, a music podcast where a group of friends share music with each other, an album at a time. It's like a little book club for music. If you're unfamiliar, I'm Pimmy. I'm Pimmy.
Yes, you are.
I'm Pimmy Lombers. I don't know. I'm Petey Rave, your man with no plan and or ability to speak words. Here with me is my team, my crew, my squad. We've got Brett.
Ahoy, hoy.
We've got Drew.
Hey, everybody.
And we've got Patrick.
Hello.
Yeah. We're here to talk about music, talk about an album, give our thoughts on an album that we've been shared with. The provider of the album this week is Patrick. Patrick, what do you got for us this week?
So I got some super groovy stoner metal with Red Fang and their album Murder the Mountains.
Which you do not see in the square that has the album art.
Oh.
But, that's cool.
Nobody watches anyways. Let's talk about some expectations.
You mean I put on pants for this?
Yeah.
The album art, it has a bunch of eyeballs and shit. Like, it's worth looking at once.
Yeah, it is worth looking at. Drew, what were your expectations coming into this album?
I really had none. I knew, from seeing the album art, like Brett said, with the circle and the mountain thing with all the eyeballs and such, it was gonna be weird. And I knew it was of a maybe heavy metal-ish variety, but besides that, when Patrick brings metal, there's a wide variety of metal he can pull from, and I had no idea which end of the spectrum we were going in on. So I was just along for the ride at a certain point.
Brett, what were your expectations coming into this album?
I didn't know this band by name, but I did look them up and saw that they were in Rocksmith. So I've actually played some of their music before, and I still didn't recognize any of it, even when I was listening to it. Yeah. But I really had, when the name was dropped, I was like, okay, what do we got here?
Yeah.
But no, I had no clue.
But what do we have here, Patrick? How would you describe this album musically? What would be the themes and elements?
It's super groovy stoner metal. So stoner metal is sort of a weird name for a genre, but it kind of is. We've listened to stuff adjacent to it before, like Clutch, Mastodon, Baroness. It's kind of like the vocals are not straight up death metal screaming, but there's usually a little grit to them. It tends to be very kind of riffy, but not like chugga-chuggy. There's limited chugga-chugs.
Well put.
It's kind of in some ways a little bit throwback metal. Like it is not about speed or technicality, although most of the bands who play it are usually pretty solid musicians. And very often it doesn't take itself seriously at all. Like the music is valued and you care about, but it ain't it's not a progressive rock album intended to be studied like it was a college course. It's sort of fun and dumb and sort of fuzzed out, although no fuzz pedals were harmed in the creation of this record.
Yeah. Drew, how would you describe this album musically?
Well, this album just hit me as something that was super intense throughout. There was a density to it that I really kind of enjoyed. And this is one of the albums that, for the first time in a long time, there was a weird noticeable difference between when I was listening on my home stuff with my actual headphones and everything and in my car. There was times where I would listen to a song in the headphones and I would dig it, and there would be cool galloping bass parts and stuff like that, and I could hear separation. And then in my car there was no separation, and it just all sort of blended together in a weird way, which is cool. It's just odd. There were also some tracks where the vocals had that I don't know how to describe the effect besides this weird reverb where the singer almost sounds like he's in a box. And
it's called putting the singer inside of a box.
Okay, that very well could be.
Step 1.
All I know is
cut a hole in the box.
Oh, go ahead. I know a guy who lived in the box. He built it himself out of cement and rocks. Wait, that's a ska reference. Let me leave now. But it's something that reminded me of like some of the like weird metal bands that were around this area. When I was like too cool for school. That was the thing. There was nothing on this that like hit me as like a revelation. There was nothing that if I overheard this album that I would pick out and be like, oh wow, I want to listen to more of this band because of X. I bobbed my head along the whole way, but like I couldn't, and I picked out specific songs obviously, and there were songs that like I gravitated to more because of certain things, but there wasn't one thing where if I heard it randomly, like, oh wow, that bass line's really groovy. I want to go test more of this band, or oh wow, that drummer's really sick. I want to go check out more of this band. It just all sort of was at a certain point, which is cool. Everything was super competent and super well done, and I think everything was super well thought out. It just nothing like as far as individual parts. It's just really hard for me on this album to pick out a specific thing besides saying like they're all good at what they're doing. It's just none of them are great at what they're doing, I guess.
Great. Brett, what would be the theme song that caught your attention? How would you describe the song musically?
I was hoping to do some beach frisbee there for a second, like channel my inner Tony the Tiger. So this album is it's heavy and it's kind of gritty in a way that is very, very noticeable. Like, hey, the singer's in a box, the effect. There's some grit to that. But there's a lot of palm muting going on. Everything seems to be shifted towards the low end of the EQ. It's not quite fart rock, but it's definitely it's bringing the low end. But like it's got some clipping and stuff that is a little grating at times, but it's not full out like blown speaker tone. The vocals are sometimes zombie-esque, but it works. Go figure. It's pushed by the drums a lot and a lot with the rhythm guitar to be. It's a very head-banging album. It's the kind of album that if I were born 10 years later, my dirtbag friends would be sitting on their beanbag chairs playing like whatever video games were probably the same old ass video games I played too because we were all poor, but and smoking weird things while listening to this. So it's kind of a strange genre because it's got all that dirt and the grime and the like headbanging stuff, but there's some weird trippy stuff going on. There's some like some use of some tremolo on the vocals, which was weird. Like there are more ways to get the gallop than just playing 3 notes on a bass guitar. But yeah, it was. This was a very dense thing to bite into, for being very hard to describe. As Drew was trying to, like, I couldn't reach out and grab everything.
Yeah. I was looking down at my notes. I was confused by my own sentences, and mainly confused by my first note, which was. Just by the fact that I chose the word that I chose, they manifest the quintessential droning stoner sound, and I'm sitting here wondering why I chose the word manifest. I don't know.
It's fair. Were you partaking while listening?
Yes. Did you eat a weird looking cactus?
No. This is just how I am, man. This is just how I am. My brain was born stoned. I don't know. Patrick, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
Wires, which is I think the first single and probably I think it was the first song of theirs I ever heard. It was the first or second. My brother was like, you have to see this video because it's hilarious. Also, these guys make the best like $3,000 music videos. Like they're great. Go on YouTube and watch them. They're just fun. But it's the way I would describe it, like musically, it's dead simple right up until it stops being dead simple, and it kind of does some cool stuff. The guitar tone is like, I love their guitar tone. It's just Sun beta lead amps cranked to the sky. They just borrowed a bunch from their bass player and it's stuck. Like, no distortion pedals. I think the one guitar player uses a Phase 90 sometimes, and that's it. Like, it is just gritty, weird Sun amp solid state distortion, which is a really unique sound. Very like old school fuzzy, but also like with a lot more low end. The vocals do the stoner metal thing. They're kind of gritty and growled, but not screamed. But I kind of really like that. It's the main guitar riff is like, it gets itself into this weird dissonant state and then resolves, but it doesn't resolve quite how you feel like it would the first time you hear it. It does something different. And it's just like a kind of a fun song. And then there's some organ stuff just because. And it's got a really, really spectacular bridge. Like, a good bridge in a song is like, it's nice. I like the concept of like, we have a verse, we have a chorus, we have a verse, we have a chorus. And then occasionally we're going to go wander off into fucking Narnia and then come back. and that song wanders off into Narnia.
That's not how all bridges work.
Yeah, but like
going to Narnia is, and also a bridge is not how you get to Narnia. But still, I enjoyed my trip to Narnia.
wardrobe.
Yeah. Hank is Dead. This one's like a really good driving, like, the song has momentum, and I say that sometimes, but it's like the song is pushing forward, and it's like, it's a car driving through the desert with a pile of dust behind it. It's just that in music form. Really cool guitar work. I like the vocals again, and it sounds cool, and I feel like the sounds cool is how I feel about a lot of the record. Painted Parade, because it's a drum solo to start, and why not? It's not a complicated drum solo. This is not Neil Peart like writing a fucking opus, but it's like the song is drums for a minute, and that doesn't happen very often. And then the Undertow, which is just fun with an octave pedal. It gets super sludgy, and it's sort of got the vocals do this kind of spooky country gothic thing. Is the only way I could try to put it in words, but it's just fun, and I don't like sludge metal, but I like vaguely sludgy metal, and this does that really well.
Drew, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
Well, first of all, Wires. I'm pretty sure I've heard this song somewhere before. It's the song that, like,
it was on Rocksmith.
It was also like a single, and maybe like was on like a TV show or something.
Okay. Yeah, because
they're mildly well known. Like, they're not tiny, but they're not big either.
Yeah.
They show up places.
Yeah. What I didn't realize, like, I know the bass, like, riff, right? Not the bass riff, but the bass riff of the song, the basic riff of this song. Like, I've heard that somewhere before. And it's cool. It works. It's a 6-minute song that has some good motion to it. Like, there are some really cool changes. The bridge that comes in about like 2 minutes 53 minutes or 3 minutes, somewhere in there, like, it has this like haunting bit that I think is really fun. The whole song in general, like, I would love to see as like the credits roll to like a Borderlands game. Although, like, I don't know if there's ever going to be another Borderlands game. Yeah, I'm probably in agreement with you on that one, Brett. But if there was, this would be a cool song for it. I have to mention the song. The song has a cool chord progression. The song musically is very neat. But I kind of just wanted to say the words "dirt wizard" real quick.
Hey, yo, that's what I aspire to be, is a dirt wizard.
Dirt wizard.
Sounds like like a D&D insult. I think I'm going to use that as a D&D insult. You're just a dirt wizard.
Dirt wizard. Yeah. Then you have to roll like a D20 to see if like you intimidate the person or they get angry. And then yeah, the fuck. And then the Undertow. The way it trudges along and gives this very foreboding feeling the entire time is really cool. And the intro, I put the words the intro is thick with 2 C's and 4 K's. And I changed it to 4 because when I wrote that, I originally wrote with 3 K's, and I realized I probably shouldn't say that. Oh.
2 or 4 is acceptable.
3 is not.
3 is not so much.
Correct. I
Unless
noticed
a picture is
my folly.
unless their
2
picture
or
only
fewer,
has
4 or more.
unless the picture only has 3 strikeouts, and then
and they
can't be
did,
helped.
and they got caught swinging.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Correct. But this is not baseball. This is
It'd be cooler if it was. No. I actually enjoyed this.
But yeah, Brett, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
Yo, throw up. That's
right.
a song that's got.
no thanks. Not bulimic.
Well, this thing had some uwoos going on. The vocals sort of had that. What is the singer doing in a box over there? Like, it sounded a lot like they had the microphone in the next room over. Like it was weird, but I thought it was pretty groovy, and it just keeps chugging on. It also has a 1-note solo, which is one of my favorite things ever. Everybody just rocking out to that 1 note. Wires is the track that I guess I played on Rocksmith, because I played a lot of Rocksmith. I can't. Yeah, they did the crazy square wave thing, where they made a guitar sound like it was the most bass level noise, and they did it for a bunch. And then there was an organ, and then there was a trippy bridge for some reason. But you know what? It worked. I was down with it. And Painted Parade, I thought that the opening drums were pretty cool. There was some weird clipping going on at the end, at least the version I was listening to. And it was done in a way that I could only hear the lead guitar, like in a sharp manner. I don't know if that was by design, but it was kind of cool that I knew this weird muffly clipping out noise was going on, and this like crystal clear fucking guitar was cutting through my ears. But yeah, like there's some fun stuff going on, but those were what really stuck with me in my listens.
Mm-hmm. I also want to give a shout out to one of the bonus deluxe edition tracks, Pawn Everything, for kind of being a weird song that came out of nowhere and reminded me that I had left Shuffle on, because I realized that's kind of a I sat there listening to that song and thought, this is a weird second track. I was like, oh wait.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's bring it back around the horn with some conclusive thoughts. Drew, what would be your conclusion on this album as a whole?
So, like I said, there's nothing that, if I would have heard this randomly, that I would have picked out and been like, oh yeah, this is the reason I should listen to more of this band. But listening to a lot of this band, I was glad that I did. Like, it's a really cool record. The music in general is very fun in a weird way, which this type of music, calling it fun, I feel weird, but say what you will. So it's something that I'm super happy I listened to. It's not a band that it's a band that I will definitely when I see something new of theirs come out, I'll definitely look and be like, oh, I should probably listen to a couple of tracks from this and see what's up. Maybe not dive in deep like I did this time, but at least keep an eye out for it, because it's good. It's fun.
Mm-hmm. Brett, what would be your conclusion on this album?
I mean, if you are looking for something to just sit around and jam out to, and you want it to be not Yanni, and you want there to be something mindless but not complete Muzak, I got something for you, buddy. This also works as a pretty good soundtrack to playing, any video game that you don't care about. Like, let's say the Super Nintendo.
Uniracer?
Uniracer's actually in my Super Nintendo upstairs right now. But no, I was thinking more of the Super Famicom's version of the Sailor Moon RPG. Like, you don't need to hear what's going on in that. You just need something that rocks.
Yeah.
And this album, I have it on good authority, works really well for that.
Yes.
But this isn't something that I'd normally go for. But and maybe it'll work for you like it did for me. I thought it was a pretty fantastic time listening to something that I would never have actually sat down and listened to.
Yeah. This is a fun listen. If like you kind of said, like there's nothing in this particularly stands out, at least for me, but it's a fun listen to it. It's cool to kind of groove out to and space out to. I would my last note I would say I would welcome their inclusion in a playlist, but probably won't seek them out for specific listening to. But like it didn't hook me completely and make anything particularly memorable, but I had a fun time while I was listening to it. So I think overall that's just how my thoughts play out. But yeah, Patrick, last but not least, what will be your conclusion on this album?
I think Drew really hit it. It's fun. Like it's not the most serious thing. It's not like a lot of metal can get super technical and up its own ass, and I love that stuff, but sometimes you just need to like sit back and fucking rock out and bang your head, and that's kind of what this is all about. It is just like some dudes with some amps turned up, drinking beer and making music, and that's fun. So go listen to it. Like I said earlier, get on YouTube. They have amazing videos. They're like the king of our label gave us $3,000. What are we going to do? And there was a LARPing in armor made of beer cans. There was turning a car into a sort of road missile and driving it into increasingly weird things. Like it's fun and dumb, and like music should be fun sometimes. I said, I listen to a lot of stuff that you could qualify as being up its own ass, but once in a while you got to step back and have some fun.
Yeah. No Brett. At least I don't hear
Sorry.
Brett.
It wasn't important anyway.
Also, did I do the rare thing and pick something that Brett thought was all right?
I mean,
rare for me, I'm saying.
I mean, it's hard to not enjoy just the like churning waves of headbanging music that this album brings.
Yeah,
like, it's very digestible.
Yeah, it's hard not to kind of feel fun and feel good about this album because it just kind of like has a cool sound. But yeah, let's get into the haikus. Why don't we? Let's get down to it. The main the main event of the evening. We got our haikus. Let's get it cracking.
No, Krakens are dangerous.
Yes.
Cracklins, though.
Delicious.
Delicious. Drew, what is your haiku?
Some sludgy madness that did get my head bobbing. It did not offend.
Mm-hmm. Brett, what is your haiku?
It's approachable, not in a vanilla way. It's worth a listen.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna do my haiku. It does bring the sludge and cool tunes to space out to. Forgettable though. Patrick, what is your haiku?
Super groovy riffs made with zero pretension, pure distilled metal.
Mm-hmm. Of course, that is Red Fang, Murder the Mountains. You can of course murder the mountains on our Spotify playlists. Play Record Breakers the home game. Catch up with us, keep up with us at home. On that Spotify playlist is going to be next week's record. It's going to be provided by Brett. Brett, what do you got for us next week?
Oh boy. So next week we're going to listen to a nice little album by the band No FX, and the album is Punk in Drublic.
Mm-hmm.
Leave me alone.
If you buy the cassette tape, it's orange.
Yes.
It's that one.
Yes, it's that one. Look forward to that next week, but that's of course next week, and this is this week. And you can of course find us all over the internet. Patrick is at the Swagger, Brett is at HibbityBirbird, HIBBITYBIBBARD, Drew is at XDruciferX, I'm at PD Rave. The show is at 4 Record Breakers. That's the number 4 Record Breakers. RecordBreakersPodcast.com, RecordBreakersPodcast@gmail.com. If you wish to email us, Rebelly.net for this and other shows. Rebelly TV on YouTube. Check out all the things. Subscribe, like, share where you find podcasts, ideally, or most places. Until next time, hasta los huevos. You listen to this album on weed.